Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to share our experience with you. We are glad that you have decided to join our talk today. Scalable test automation in an insurance company. Before we start, we would like to briefly introduce ourselves and the company we work for. We are Ivo and Matthias, and both test automation managers at Provinzial Stock Company in Münster, Germany. Our company is the second largest public insurance group with more than 5 million customers. This means that our core business is neither software development nor software sales. We do build and test our own software for our own purposes, but the software is used exclusively by the company's 6,500 office and field staff employers. So today I cannot sell you anything from our presentation, but if you need an insurance policy, give us a call. Also, we do not sell software. We have round about 1,000 employers in our own IT department. We are responsible for the development and maintenance of more than 400 applications. The software systems that we are developing are, of course, essentially related to our core competence, namely the insurance industry. But we also develop, for example, complex AI systems which support us in customer processing, assessing claims, and preparing offers for our customers. We started about 2 years ago to unify the test automation process and to develop a test automation strategy. We are looking for a unified test automation solution. This leads us to talk first about the challenges we have faced during our journey. We have hundreds of highly networked and complex applications that have historically been built on different technologies and just as many use cases that need to be covered. And the trend is rising. 2 major fusions in the couple last years have had, of course, a major impact on this. The entire software develop process, from creating requirements to releasing the test, is decentralized and performed by respective teams. For this reason, various test scenarios has also grown with the company, which has led to use the various automation solutions, from open source solutions to in-house developments and commercial products. Everything has been represented, and much was. Silo thinking slowly came out. Also, we have to take many regulatory requirements into account. Let me just summarize briefly. We are just looking for the perfect solution for a maximum numbers of participants and a maximum number of scenarios. Or, in other words, we are only looking just for the ultimate all-in-one solution, which should serve for all our use cases. We began our mission to find a suitable tool. During the search, an important technology question has to be clarified. Is an all-in-one or the best-of-breed approach the right for us? At this point, we have to mention that many tools we are already placed for the unified software development process. For example, there was Jira as a task management system, X-Ray as a Jira test management extension, GitLab as a version control system, and so on that are set. In addition, the new standardized technology specification was set. It's web. All these conditions have made it not much easier. As already mentioned, we have an extremely large number of different use cases and use a wide range of tools used to date, tons of test data that could optimally be reused in some form by the new solution. We also involve the business departments. For example, solution designers, business developers, insurance experts in the testing process. This means persons who are not trained software testers and maybe have low or maybe no IT and especially no software development experience should still be involved and able to perform the test. We mentioned that we are a local public insurer. Hard to believe, but fact. To achieve the maximum number of users, we would also need to offer a test automation solution in our native language, so in German. Now, Ivo tells you something about our decision.
Thank you, Matthias. Since we have had already experience with an all-in-one commercial tool, and it was unable to achieve enough acceptance and usage due to its complexity, considering the facts and circumstances already mentioned by Matthias, we decided to pursue the best-of-breed approach. It quickly became clear that there wasn't the one tool for this purpose, but that was what we needed was a framework that has to be flexible enough, also easy to learn and teach, simple to expand, and easy to maintain. One potential solution was the robot framework. We evaluated the framework and were amazed at the possibilities it could offer us. The keyword-driven and data-driven testing approaches allow us to address a really wide range of users, collaborate, use unified resources, prevent us reinventing the wheel again and again, and at the end of the day, increase also the test coverage in a simple way. The ability to easily provide and exchange resources enables a quick and focused entering into this topic, and even for less IT-savvy colleagues. That could also rapidly increase reusability and enables also the mapping of complex end-to-end tests. The unified reporting is very well accepted and also strongly required for the unified test documentation in our regulated insurance business. The simple expandability offers very good options for scaling this solution in all directions. For example, with the release of version 6 and providing the opportunity for localization, a further hurdle for the distribution of this solution has been overcome. Development could now be done entirely in our native language, German. I would like to mention, relying on open source solutions is not the common practice for us. But as we have started and analyzed the framework, have also been impressed by the active community. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the whole community for the great job and support they have always provided. But where do we stand today and how do we continue to support scalability in our company? We have developed our own unified specifications for the development of keywords and test suites. This enables us to provide targeted support for the development of the unified resources and achieve the desired synergy effects. In order to ensure compliance with security measures and simple provision of a robot framework environment, we have packaged a one-click installation that provides centralized all required components, libraries, and tools in the predefined versions to all target systems. That means that all systems use those preferred libraries in the same version. Furthermore, we have integrated an updater too, which ensure that all robot framework systems have not only the same library versions, but also the same library collections installed. Now we can effectively collaborate and share easily all internal developed resources. We have developed also a rule concept on the basis of which we regularly offer individual training courses as a part of 3-part training series. To share the expertise, we have set up an internal test automation community that meets regularly and reports on innovation and successes to the company's own IT community. This has enabled us to quickly increase the number of departments involved. At the beginning, there were just 4 pilot projects. Currently, we support more than 20, and we are really glad that the trend is continuously rising. In order to support further development of the framework and ensure its continued existence, we have also been member of the Robot Framework Foundation since last year. We develop now our own resources and libraries for our specific use cases in case we cannot find an open source one, or in case the users have requested a convenience layer. For example, we have developed our own web automation library based on the well-established browser library. For use in the process automation environment, a highly motivated colleague has developed our own Camunda library based on the SOAP and request libraries. For secrets management, we have implemented an own Vault connection for the robot framework based on the Python module provided directly by HashiCorp. We are an insurance company, and yes, we still have 1 or 2 mainframes in the basement. That's why we also offered a library for this case based on the JCOM solution from ChangeLogic and supported by the browser library. This allows us to perform mainframe automation just in the browser. In order to further enhance the test automation topic and better sharing expertise, we are training specialists ourselves. As part of a master thesis, the first open source solution from our environment have also already been released. It's called PerfBot. The library is intended to be used as an early warning system for performance problems and can also graphically extend the familiar execution reports. It's to find on GitHub. We have developed migration scenarios so that we can continue to scale within the company and unify the whole automation solutions already existing. For example, an enthusiastic colleague has provided a tool-supported solution for the automated migration of Selenium test cases to Robot Framework. It worked, of course, based on the browser library. As requested by the department involved, we are now starting to explore APA using Robot Framework, in addition to or completely detached from the test automation task, providing just a proper technical assistance solution for boring everyday tasks. To make it easier to get started in the world of Robot Framework and to get more user interested, we have set up an online documentation server where the documentation of the currently available resources is made available to all interested users. This enables them to gain an insight into which departments are already active, what these departments has already provided to the community, where and who could provide support, and how they could obtain the shared resources without having a robot environment in advance or even knowing what Robot Framework is. For keeping this documentation up to date, all resources are built and uploaded hourly using Jenkins pipelines. Matthias will now explain you how we plan to provide test automation for everyone. Matthias, please.
Thank you, Ivo. Our strategy is to enable test automation for everyone, like Ivo says. We would like to explain this to you below using an example. In our use cases, we use different layers for different skills and different roles. At the top level, the test case level. The test cases can be defined using the keywords in our native language. This is used, for example, by our insurance experts and business development, who is also specifying the test cases. By the way, in this example, we are talking about the creation of an insurance policy in the bicycle sector. In the second layer, developers or solution designers develop the keywords that are used for the test cases. Here, in this keyword, Fahrzeugtyp wählen, the selection of a bicycle is mapped. The lowest level is managed by a central team, which includes Ivo and myself. We develop the required libraries and resources and make them available. In my example, we have translated the keyword click from the browser library into German and specified it for our application. We have had a good experience with this approach so far. It has enabled us to create synergy effects. Furthermore, this approach allows us to reach a broader range of Robot Framework users. But nevertheless, it should be mentioned that we have not reached the entire target group yet. Among other things, some people have difficulties working in the Visual Studio Code development environment. Others have problems to systematically set up the example test cases.
Now I would like to show you how we have integrated the Robot Framework in our current toolchain. It has already been mentioned that we have mapped our whole software development process in Jira. In simple terms, the requirements that need to be implemented can be found there. For those requirements, there are specified test cases in X-Ray. These can be used as specification for the creation of automated robot framework test cases. As the creation and maintenance of those scripts is decentralized in the respective teams, using, for example, Visual Studio Code and Robot Code, the artifacts are stored in GitLab under version control. Currently, the trigger is coming from a Jenkins instance. And as soon as the trigger is received, the selected test cases are executed on Windows slaves in form of VM clients. This is also where the interaction with our test object happens. As soon as the robot framework execution is completed, the generated report and results are saved in an audit-proof manner to network storages. As a part of a further Jenkins job, the results are first simplified to avoid overloading both systems, X-Ray and Jira. And after then, feedback is sent to X-Ray via X-Ray API. All relevant and required data that can be provided information about the last test execution is retained. Furthermore, a link is added to the real repository where the original execution results are stored in advance and archived securely. And this way, we can increase the connectivity and also provide better traceability for our test process. Finally, Jenkins sends a notification which contains also an integrated evaluation of the last test execution, entire to a group of recipients by mail or to a team channel as a message. Before we now answer questions from the audience, we would like to show briefly our current application scenarios and list also the technologies we are using therefore. Since we have as target technology web, many of our test objects are web applications, so we are using the browser library for web automation. To keep an eye on performance, we use our own perfboard for visualizing performance changes. And for further example, we also use the doctest library for comparing customers' documentations. As you can see, we have also planned many use cases implemented. Matthias will now briefly summarize the previous journey and tell you why we think that it's a suitable way for us to go on. Matthias.
Thank you, Ivo. At the beginning, we analyzed the known use cases. Based on this awareness, we defined what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. In other words, the first piece of the puzzle was to define guidelines and draw up style guides. The next piece of the puzzle was extremely important for us and took a lot of time to ensure that acceptance does not suffer. Every user should have an easy access to a robot development environment without having to worry about maintaining it. At the same time, we developed our role concept and offered the individual training course based on this concept. According to our strategy, test automation should be set up and maintaining in a decentralized manner. From the beginning, it was very clear that we need a strong and agile community that was willing to participating and collaborate. So we initiating this community and offered regular exchange meetings where participating users could exchange ideas freely and unmoderated with each other. As missing piece of the puzzle, the new test automation solution should integrate perfectly with the tools already in use. So one of our goals is to improve the traceability of the whole testing process. Since we have a huge number of test objects and use cases, it was very satisfying to see how easily we are able to extend the framework for these use cases based on an open source libraries and tools. That's why we have decided to give something back and to contribute to the foundation, to the Robot Framework Foundation, and have already made our first open source solution available to the community. And that's why all the pieces of the puzzle fit together to a whole puzzle.
Finally, we would like to point out our own Dream It, Be It career campaign, or as we call it, Dream IT, Be IT. In case you want to learn more about this, or you're looking for exciting new challenges, just follow the QR code and check our vacancies. But now we are looking forward to hear your questions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Awesome stuff. We have a ton of questions. Let's get to them. All right, guys, we're about to go live. Let's do it. Hey, Matthias and Ivo, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, good to see you. A lot of questions, so let's just jump right to them because we have a little bit of time. 1 second.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. First question is, how did you develop a one-click robot framework development installation?
Okay, that's a good question. Probably we could provide some more information in the speaker corner. Basically, we have a package that contains Python, Node.js, and some further parts. The robot framework, of course, and a predefined list of libraries we have chosen. So the colleague from us or our customer can order the package via Workplace portal. We provide the whole software in our company during this portal. So they just have to say, we want to have a robot environment and enter the name of the machine where they want to have that. So the whole rest is provided automatically. As I said, for further information, we will be on the speaker corner, so we can talk after that.
Great. 1 second. All right. Don't want to hear that. How do your less tech savvy folks run tests? Are they able to run the test, or did you have to teach them how to run them in the IDE?
Yes.
We have a Jenkins pipeline, and with the text in the Visual Studio Code, or for example, a Write IDE, the customers the users can choose their tests with tags, for example, and Jenkins is going every day, every night, or sometimes 2 times a day, and running the tests. They are choosing maybe by the tags.
Yeah, of course, they have also have a course, so they can use the IDE themselves. We're using Visual Studio Code with robot code. So every from the colleagues can start locally the execution of the test before they provide it to the Jenkins instance.
What are you missing in the browser library that you had to develop for yourself? Could that contribute back to browser library?
Matthias has mentioned we are a German insurance company, so we have to have a native speaking library for our colleagues. So the first point, of course, the language. And after that, we have provided several convenience layer on top. That means special functionalities for our product, also for insurance, character, everything we need, what could be providing more comfortable for our customer or for our colleagues. We have put it on top as convenience layer.
Awesome. Regarding guidelines and style guides for a robot framework, could you name a few or share a few?
Mostly there is a robot framework style guide we are looking about, and I think it's a good question for the speakers corner too, because we can name a few and maybe share them, but it's too big for the whole community.
The master plan for the style guides was, of course, the the officially provided style guide from the Robot Framework Foundation.
Great. Would it be beneficial to have support translations also for library keywords?
I think so, yeah.
Why not?
Also for us, it's important to have the translated. That's why it was for us so important using the version 6, providing the localization that has provided some more comfort or some more accessibility to all our colleagues. As I said, we have plenty colleagues. They are working in insurance parts of the company, so they are not really IT affine, and have also the need to work with the framework and to have the possibility to run the execution locally before we combine this all.
All right. So being probably in more of a regulated environment, how did you get your managers to accept open source tools like Robot Framework? Must have been crazy.
Great question. Great question. And when we are thinking about our history, we was a long time talking about the best of breed or all-in-one approach we have to use in our company, and we have many tools like Jira that are given before. And so many of them, of the all-in-one solutions, are not usable for us in our use cases. So we have to look through another way. And we also bought many of the big players, the other automation solutions, and with time we get access to the open source framework like Robot Framework, and now we can use it. Yes.
Additionally, I would like to mention we have had really bad experience with commercial tools, especially support and acceptance. So we were just open for any other tools. It's really open source or not. That wasn't matter. We just have to provide a solution for all our use cases, for all our colleagues, that should have a bigger acceptance and should be also easy to learn and to teach. So the Robot Framework was pretty cool solution which have taken and using it since 2 years. 2 years, I think.
We probably have time for only a few more questions. David wants to know, did you use any tools for static analysis, quality checks of the test code in your pipeline?
We are planning to implement that. Currently, we are using standard tools. That means Robot Corp or Tidy, but furthermore also planned, but currently not in use.
All right. Let's see if we have one last one that's really easy. How was all the? I don't know if easy, but how was all this done? Did you create a team or teams for this implementation, or was it one person in charge and then they?
We have a central team with about 7 or 8 people that are working maybe nearly the whole day at the central team, at the administration team, like Ivo and me and myself. And we have around about 20 teams that are using Robot Framework at now, and we are trying to help them implementing their test cases, their libraries, their keywords. Yes.
We have also a role concept. So from each team, there are different roles, also trained for using the framework, following the instructions, following the style guides. So we have decentralized this situation or the topics.
Well, this was an awesome session. You kept mentioning you'll be in GatherTown, so you're going to be in the light side or dark side for more questions.
Dark side.
All right. So everyone check them out on the dark side. Like I said, there's a lot more questions left, and get them answered in GatherTown. Thank you so much, guys, for participating in RoboCon Online. I appreciate you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks.